Legendary NFL and Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kurt Warner ended up chiming into the whole Arizona Cardinals situation. Can their season be fixed? He also dived into the debate of Jacoby Brissett versus Kyler Murray, and what he ended up having to say might shock you. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. We're also on the road to 19K as well. Cannot do it without you guys, so make sure you go ahead and subscribe it up. Let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, huge shout out here to Arizona Sports that ended up having Kurt Warner on Friday. Had a really good interview with him, basically chopping it up, all things Arizona Cardinals. What can they do to fix their season that's currently right now 2-5? And of course, the big debate out there is, should Jacoby Brissett finish off the season or should Kyler Murray finish off the season? And I highly recommend you check it out. This interview is really, really good. Anytime you hear, legendary quarterback for the Cardinals, Kurt Warner, chime in about anything, you have to listen in because he does have that experience, right? At the end of the day, he does have that experience. So I love to go ahead and listen in and hear what he has to say. But one thing that I really want to kind of note when I listen to this 11, 12-minute interview over there, that it almost did feel like Kurt Warner did everything in his power to not throw people under the bus and not really kind of throw shade around. He really was very, very specific and to be very politically correct on his responses and coming from a player. I guess that's where he's coming from more than anything. He's mentioned before that he does not like to throw shade or that it might be sometimes this NFL is it's just too, they're too in a rush to call people a bust, right? Calling it like it is right now. We do got Kyler Murray right now in his year 7 that we still got a lot of unknown and a lot of big question marks heading into 2026. And heck, there's still a lot of question marks here in 2025 that we still don't know exactly how this is all going to work out and how this is all going to shake out. What we've heard is that Kyler Murray, if healthy, is trending to start here on Monday Night Football in Week 9 versus the Dallas Cowboys. But then we ended hearing Jonathan Gannon come out and say that it's still kind of up in the air and it's too early to tell. So we don't really know what the Arizona Cardinals are going to do. We really don't, but we're just going to have to kind of wait and see how it all unfolds and figure it all out. But highly recommend you jumping on Arizona Sports YouTube channel and check out the full interview. Really, really great. But I want to kind of talk about what he ended up saying about when the question about is it Jacoby Brissett versus Kyler Murray, who should be playing for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, there's no debate that Jacoby Brissett runs this offense, at least this year, better than Kyler Murray. There's no debate there. And if you want to debate me, you're probably going to lose because, in the very first week from Jacoby Brissett, he ended up having 7 explosive plays. He was running this offense more efficiently. He was staying in the pocket, stepping up in the pocket, and delivering dimes to wide receivers that we're all saying weren't good wide receivers when they were playing with Kyler Murray, right? Now, that's not saying that Jacoby Brissett is a much better quarterback than Kyler. No, but in this offense, what you need to do is be able to stay in the pocket, step up in the pocket, and deliver the ball and spread it around to all your weapons. Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, Trey McBride has now have 2 touchdowns on the season compared to the 1 in 5 games with Kyler. So this is the type of stuff that you want to see from this offense. This offense looks alive. It looks fun. It doesn't look dink and dunk. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look lethargic. It doesn't look predictable. Now, there's still some little predictability here and there with Jacoby Brissett, but still, it doesn't outshine how bad this offense looked with Kyler. Now, it's not all Kyler Murray's fault. I'm 100% in the greens there. There's a lot of factors as to why this offense is what it is. But one thing I want to focus on is that Kurt Warner ended up coming out and says that you made your commitment to Kyler, right? That's how he ended up starting when the question about the debate of Jacoby Brissett versus Kyler Murray. That's how he ended up starting it. You made your commitment to Kyler. Now, I don't really like this, to be real with you. Now, I respect 100% where he's coming from. He's coming from a player's side of it all. And realistically, yeah, the team did commit to Kyler Murray. If you take a look at his contract, they have him signed up until 2028. The guaranteed salary does stop in 2026, but is there an out for the Cardinals if they decided to move off of him in the trade deadline or this offseason heading into 2026? Well, we're going to be talking about the contract in a little later on, but I don't like you made a commitment to Kyler because it almost kind of feels like we're continuing to try to make something work when it's not working, right? How much time do you need to give a quarterback to either prove to you or the fan base that you are him, right? Or you are the guy that's going to, deliver us to the promised land. It feels like the Arizona Cardinals are kind of stuck in the situation right now because of what they decided to do when they extended Kyler Murray on the multi-year deal. Right now, at that time, I was all on board because look at the contracts now, right? Look how many people are how much quarterbacks are getting paid now. That's like $55+ million. Well, Kyler Murray right now at $43 million seems like a bargain deal. But if you're not getting the production, it doesn't really seem like a bargain deal. It seems like you're just kind of allocating money to not really make to players are not really being X factors for you, right? Because another topic that he ended up coming out, and it was kind of to try to sway you to Kyler Murray, is he ended up saying that if you look at the sample sizes of what we've seen in these games, the Cardinals have never been blown out. Well, if you look at the Seahawks game, the Cardinals were essentially blown out until that fourth quarter when they ended up kind of coming back. But you're right, we technically were not blown out, right? But in the end of the day, Kyler Murray is 2-3 in 5 games, and Jacoby Brissett is 0-2. That is what a lot of people are looking at when you're looking at the sample size. Now, the Cardinals, ended up finishing off 1-1 or 2-0 with Jacoby Brissett. I think it would be a little easier for people to sway over to Jacoby Brissett's side. But because they are still 0-2 with Jacoby Brissett, no matter how good this offense looks, I believe the Arizona Cardinals are going to be favoring Kyler Murray because of the contract, because of the face of the franchise, because of jobs might be on the line this year. Like let's be real. If this regime is sitting down and saying who's going to give us the best position to win, on Sundays, Thursdays, and Mondays, they're probably going to lean to the guy that has the biggest contract to prove if you're still that guy. But he shouldn't be proving if he's still that guy right now. We should already know heading into 2026 if he's that guy. But unfortunately, we still don't know if he's going to be the guy for the Cardinals moving forward. But now, if the Cardinals are smart, they probably would move off of Kyler in the trade deadline. If not, maybe in the offseason, depending on how the rest of the 10 games end up going. There's one thing I've always said. If you're a good organization, you're always going to be thinking 1 year ahead, 2 years ahead, 6 months ahead, right? How are you going to put your franchise in a really, really good situation moving forward? Now, if the Cardinals decide to move off of Kyler, there can be a scenario where you can bring back Jonathan Gannon and sell it to the fan base saying, well, this is the problem. Kyler was the problem the whole time. We just figured it out now. It's Kyler. So you got to give JG and Monty the opportunity to pick their guy. Well, that's a scenario where we might be living in a world in as well, right? Because is it unfair for JG to not get his guy and Monty to not get his guy? Yeah, it's unfair, but that's the NFL. That's the NFL. They knew darn well what they had and what they had to work with when they signed the contract to be the Arizona Cardinals general manager, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and head coach, right? They knew what the job entails, right? So as of right now, it definitely feels like if Kyler Murray's healthy, he's going to be the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't have any problem with it. I just need to see this offense function the way that we ended up seeing it with Jacoby Brissett. That's all I ask for. If we win or we lose, honestly, my mind is going into 2026. I'm already looking at the draft class. I'm already looking at guys that could potentially be the next QB, next weaponry, maybe a next offensive lineman, another good defensive piece. My mind's already checked out. 2-5, your realistic chance of being in the playoffs is very, very slim to none. And on top of that, you're 0-2 in the division with every other guy in the division or every other team in the division are 5-2, and you're 2-5. You put yourself in a real, real bad hole. And if you don't go undefeated for the next 6-7 games, it's not very likely that you're going to be doing anything this year. So that's kind of where my mind is. So Kurt Warner, although definitely respect everything he has to say, I have a little bit of a different approach when it comes down to, your commitment to, or you made your commitment to Kyler. That's just another thing where you're giving the keys over to a quarterback that really hasn't proven anything at all in 7 years at all. Now, I want to go and shine some light onto his contract, right? Because that's a big topic. Well, the Cardinals can't move off of his contract. Now, this is going to be contingent if the Cardinals, and I'm talking about Michael Bidwell, if he's willing to do it. Yes or no? If he's not willing to do it, then this is not a debate. But if he's willing to do it, check this out. This is on Over the Cap. If the Arizona Cardinals decide to move off of Kyler post June 1st, which obviously we're sitting in October, it's already past June 1st, the Cardinals can have a dead money hit of $10 million, $10.7 million to be exact. Now, if Michael Bidwell is willing to do that, look at the cap savings. $32.6 million in cap savings. How much can you use that to allocate to the other parts of this team? So much. Now, if they don't do anything to 2026, it's very similar in the dead money hit, but you also get $42.5 million in cap savings, right? Now, this is a no-brainer to me. Like, yes, it's not my $10 million. I 100% get that. But if you can sit to yourself and say, okay, well, we're going in 2026 as a retooling of a team, not rebuilding, but a retooling of a team, you might find yourself in a situation where this Arizona Cardinal team can still compete with maybe getting a rookie quarterback or maybe even using Jacoby Brissett as a guy that's going to help mold that rookie quarterback to potentially take the helm, just like Jackson Dart ended up doing here in New York. So I feel like it's a no-brainer to me. There is an out for the people out there that don't feel like there's an out. There is. There absolutely is. Let me give a real quick shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube throughout the entirety of the 2025 season, and that's going to be none other than Sleeper. Make sure you check them out. Everything will be in the description below, but the NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick on stats for stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, and fantasy points, and more for up to 100 times the payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you can win big. Use promo code AZSF, and you can get up to $100 deposit match on your first initial deposit. Terms and conditions apply. And when you use my promo code, you can also get a free $20. That's it. They'll just give you $20 using promo code AZSF. No deposit needed, so you go ahead and make sure you check out their app. Play all the games they have on there. It's absolutely for fun. Also, keep in mind, terms and conditions apply, like I mentioned before. But make sure you check out Sleeper, proud sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan throughout the entirety of the 2025 season. Let's move on and continue this conversation. Another thing I want to know as well is that he ended up coming out and basically talking about this thing that is very, very underrated that I think a lot of people need to focus on. I have a clip here. Credit here to Arizona Sports. Make sure you check out their channel, YouTube channel, for the entire interview. But I want to go ahead and shine some light on what he ended up having to say about this. So this is going to be Kurt Warner when talking about how crucial it is to have a pocket quarterback and staying in the pocket to deliver the passes.
Believe that, even with the great athletic quarterbacks we have in the NFL world right now, that you have to be able to consistently make plays in the pocket to be elite, to separate yourself, to give your team a chance to win in the biggest moments and on a consistent basis. That is something you have to be able to do when it's called for.
I mean, I agree. I 100% agree. As of right now, I'm not showing or seeing that Kyler Murray is able to do that or willing to do that consistently. I've seen a game or two that he's been doing it for a half, and I've really praised him a lot, but he's not able to do that consistently. Now, another thing that he has mentioned about the whole situation that we're finding ourselves in as the Cardinals are in all these games, whether it's Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett, but if you're paying somebody, what is it, $43.3 million in 2025 compared to a guy that's, getting paid $9 million as a backup quarterback, and the result or the consistent play or the results can be exactly the same, then what are we really talking about here, right? You're paying a guy $43.3 million to be that X factor. You're paying him to be that guy to win you those close games. Now, it's not going to be 100%, but at least can we get that 65, 75% of the time? And as of right now, Kyler Murray is 2-3 in the 2025 season. No, not all his fault as to why we're here. Amari DeMarcado, a couple different things went our way. We could have potentially won. A defense could have made a play here and there. We could have won those games. You're 110% correct, but that is the truth of the nature. If we want to focus on 0-2 for Jacoby and 2-3, the Cardinals are a 2-5 team, regardless of how you shake it. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. The Cardinals are a 2-5 team at the end of the day. So I really like that he said that, but also didn't really disrespect Kyler Murray because at the end of the day, he's coming from the player side of it all, right? Where you committed to Kyler at the end of the day. So honestly, this is going to be such a fascinating storyline heading into the rest of the season as well as the offseason. But let me know, ladies and gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts on this whole topic? Put it in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.